Somebody just lift your hands and tune in to God right now. That the lifting of our hands will be like the evening sacrifice. Somebody bust out in singing in tongues. This is the ladder in the spirit.
Oh, yes. There you go.
There's nothing better than the living God. There's nothing better than the living God. Ask and he will give. Seek and you will find. There's nothing better than the living God. There's nothing better than the living God.
You're on live. Yes, you are. You're live. If your face is on.
Seek and you will find. There's nothing better than the living God. There's nothing better than the living God. Ask and he will give. Seek and you will find. There's nothing better than the living God.
Why are you recording your face there? I'm not. That's what it's doing. Yeah, go on me at least, 'cause you don't. I can't go on you. Do it. Oh my goodness. Let's switch. See? Oh, so you probably did plug it on in? Everything's working. The enemy always finds a way. They put them on them and all of that. I don't know what happened.
Lord, the trumpet in Zion, sound the alarm.
nothing better than the living God. There's nothing better than the living God. Ask and he will give. Seek and you will find. There's nothing better than the living God. There's nothing better than the living God.
Glad that. Good morning, everybody. We're so glad you could join us today. We're sorry about those technical difficulties.
I don't know what's going on. Our system, boy, I tell you.
This must be a very good message.
Yes, can you guys hear us clear?
Yeah, we want to make sure you guys can hear us clearly. Can you guys hear? Let us know. Anyway, today is going to be a very good day. We're going to be studying and going over the book of Genesis, chapter 5. And it's very exciting for what's happening right now today in this particular season and entering into really the spring season that we're coming into. Mm-hmm. It's not the new year, but it's the spring season. It's next month. Spring begins. And it's at the very tip of that until we get into Passover or Peshat. And we're looking forward to that because our mind right now is on the Passover. And so I'm looking forward to that. Well, just to recap a little bit, again, those of you that are joining us for the very first time, we ask you to go back and look at some of the important teachings on the book of Genesis. Because why? Because if you don't understand Genesis, you won't understand the end. You won't understand what people are going through today. And Cain did a very terrific job. His seed did a very good job of making sure people didn't understand Genesis chapter 1 or the book of Revelation. Remember, Yeshua said, I am Alpha and Omega.
That's right. The
beginning, the end. And you can just open your ears and hear about the Alpha and Omega, Genesis, okay? Mm-hmm. Revelation, the beginning, the end. And there's a lot that's in there. And so we want to make sure that you have your ears open to hear what your Father is saying in the Besorah, his report, because it is his report that is going to set you free. All right? Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and I'm excited about today.
Father, we just thank you for this morning. I just honor you this morning because you are awesome in all that you do. We thank you that you position us to always be humble, be ready, and use wisdom, Father. And we thank you as you continue to use our mouth, Father. We thank you that it's all of you and none of us, Father. And we thank you as you do that, we ask that you go out and touch, heal, and make whole those that are lost, brokenhearted, misled. Draw them back into the house broadcast, Father, to allow them to hear your Besorah. And we thank you for that. And those that are listening, Father, continue to bless them, multiply them, give them encouragement, wisdom, insight, direction, and timing, Father. And we thank you as we come this morning to hear this awesome word, Father. We thank you that it will bring more insight to our life in the name that you have given us to tread upon. The name that you've given us to tread upon with the enemy, Father. We thank you for your Son, Yahusha Hamashiach. Glory be to the Most High.
Glory
Hallelujah.
Be to the Most High. Welcome again, everybody. You're watching the House Campus. We are Mark and Kim, your host today.
Okay, so they can hear us?
Huh?
They can hear us?
Yeah, they can hear us.
Okay.
And today we're going to do a little recap on what we've been talking about. We basically went through Genesis. You know about the cattle bowl now, the first earth age, if you will, and what took place. And remember, the earth was void. That doesn't mean that Yah created it void. It means that it was already destroyed. Mm-hmm. And why was it destroyed? Because of the cattle bowl, the rebellion that took place in heaven during the first earth age. And then we got into talking about the 6-day creation. On the 6th day, Yah created man. Whereas he created man. And we're going to see that today. The 6th-day creation is mankind. Mm-hmm. And then on the 8th day, he created a special man. That's Eth-ha-Adam, E-T-H, Eth-ha-Adam, mm-hmm. H-A. And then Adam is the word A, has a hyphen there, then D-A-M. That really just means man. Mm-hmm. Okay, so, but he's a set-apart man. That's the man that, the Mashiach, the Messiah, would come through. And it is a special type of bloodline. And we're going to talk a little bit about bloodlines today in this particular chapter, because it's very important to understand the bloodline that you are a part of if you have been awakened, if you have come to yourself.
Yes. We have come to ourselves.
You have come to yourselves. And so you're going to learn that, and we're going to say some things today that will help you understand that man cannot be born again. They can be born from above. And that's why in Scripture it says that he knew you before you were in your mother's womb. And this also will give you a lot of answers about people that you know and you associate with, and also the religious approach of hunting souls. You don't have to do that. So the sixth day creation was a man, and but the sixth day creation was assigned to do two things. It was assigned to hunt and be fishermen. But the Scripture let us know, but there was no man to till the ground. So if there was no man to till the ground, that means that, the only people that were there living at the time was sixth day creation, and none of them was assigned to till the ground. In fact, the sixth day creation is where you would, is the Gentiles. Okay, and every color, every race, every culture came out of that, and so that's how the earth was populated for 2,000 years prior to, Adam having his child, which we're going to find out today, and Adam,
the 120-year child. The 120-year child.
130
no,
years.
I'm counting the year that they have it. So
okay. Yeah, the 120-year-old kid. Okay, I got you. Yeah, and so we're going to go through that. Okay. So let's go ahead and begin in Genesis chapter 5. Let's go ahead and begin. We're going to go through this chapter today. In verse 1, it says, this is the chapter or the scepter of generations. In other words, the generation is a genealogy of Adam, and it's talking about man here, okay? It says, in the day that Elohim created man, in the likeness of Elohim made he him. And so be it. Verse 2. It says, male and female created he them and blessed them and called their name Adam. So notice that at the time he's talking about their name meaning that they both were named Adam at the time, mankind, in the sixth day creation. And he called their name Adam, and in the day that they were created, verse 2. Okay, and verse 3, it says, and Adam lived 130 years, and he begot a son. Now, this is referring to the second Adam, and begot his own son. Okay, why don't you go back to that again? It says here that Adam, he begot a son in his own likeness.
That's good.
Okay, in his own likeness. Notice it says his own seed in his likeness. The question is that when we go through chapter 5, unlike chapter 4 is really describing Cain's genealogy. And why do you think that is important to know? And why would Yah leave out Cain in this particular chapter? Well, the obvious answer is that Cain wasn't Adam's offspring. It wasn't his kid. And so he's left out. And that's why you see in chapter 4, Cain's genealogy is being described on its own. And then now we're getting ready to look at Adam's genealogy. So that's very important to know. Most Christians and believers, they don't really know that. They think about it, but it's not at heart. They're just saying, oh, yeah, we know the Satan's kids, but they don't understand that this is a real bloodline.
That is living on this planet.
They're
actually living on this planet.
They're actually living on this planet today.
Yeah, that exactly.
And so I've said this, your enemy is just not all spiritual and spooky.
Right.
Your enemy is an actual bloodline. And you've been kept from understanding your bloodline. You've made your confession of what you think you said that got you into the kingdom, if you will. But it wasn't that. You came to yourself. And because you were already born from above, and when you came to yourself, the Ruach breathed on you, and that's when life came. That's when life began in you. when life only begins at the acknowledgement of life. Okay, I'll say it again. Life begins at the acknowledgement of life. In other words, you know you exist. Okay, and so when you came to yourself, and the perfect example of that is the prodigal son. A lot of people thought, well, you know, everybody didn't realize that the whole time he was still the royal bloodline.
That's right.
No matter what he was doing, but he came to himself. He didn't have to get born again.
He's still his father's child.
He's still his father's child.
That's right.
So
The rights don't leave you.
The rights don't leave you.
The birthright that
the
you
birthright don't leave you.
The birthright doesn't leave you. The DNA doesn't leave you. So just because you go out
and do stupid stuff,
yes,
it doesn't mean the bloodline will leave you. This is
right.
why Yeshua said, "I will never leave you nor forsake you." Okay, he can't leave you because you're his bloodline. All right, and so be it. But you know, now you should be, as we've been doing this teaching, you should be able to grab hold of this true fact that Cain was not the seed. Otherwise, he would have been part of Adam's genealogy, and he's not part of Adam's genealogy because after Abel's murder, Seth was the first son. And so that we'll read that again in verse 3. And remember what it says here. Look very carefully. It says, and Adam lived 130 years, and he begot a son in his own likeness. So it's not even saying that Cain is his own likeness. It's after his image.
That's right.
And he called his name Seth. So whose image is it after? It is after Adam's. And that's important to know. Okay?
Adam.
Huh?
I like Adam.
Adam. Yeah, Adam just means man. And a lot of people, you know, Adam is man from earth. Okay? So this is mankind. All right? All right, verse 4. It says, in the days of Adam, after he had begotten Seth, were 800 years. And he begot what? Sons and daughters. So notice here, you can see the multiplication. For that 800 years, there was daughters being born.
He was making up for that long celibacy he had for 120 years.
Yeah, making up for that. Yeah. But we can see that there was a lot of females and there was a lot of boys.
Yes.
Okay. And this is where we'll get later on to where we'll notice that on the mind of Adam, he's still thinking about how can I keep my bloodline pure? Because Cain has already got a 2,000-year jump on him, right? You know, the first two brother and sister are not going to have kids. You're like, we too close, right? So we have this 800-year gap where we have sons and daughters are at, okay? And we'll get into that in just a bit. But the bloodline, as Cain and Satan is looking at Adam's bloodline or Seth's bloodline, he knows he's coming after all them kids to contaminate or to create these hybrids.
Yeah, because it's saying that Adam was 800 years old. That's what it's saying.
Yeah. Now, why is he 800? Yeah, why?
Because that's still young, you know.
Yeah, he's still 800. But it's 800 for a reason. You know, remember, what did Yah say to Adam? On the day that you eat this, you shall surely die, right? And he gave him 1 day. And 1 day is what? 1,000 years.
Right.
And so 1,000 years that Yah said he would allow him to live because of what he did. He says, on the day that you eat this, you only be given 1 day. But you know, one thing it doesn't say how long Eve lived. But remember, it doesn't acknowledge in writing, because remember when he called Adam, they both came. Okay. And now we can see that there's many daughters. Okay?
Many daughters.
Many women that were born during that time. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and look at verse 5. And it says, and all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. So Adam obviously didn't make it to 1,000 years because Yah promised him 1 day. He got close to it, but again, this is giving you the picture that this is a millennium. So, you know, 1,000 years is a millennium a day, and so we can obviously see that It's important to understand that because, again, if you understand the 1,000 years, then you understand as a day, and then that helps you understand what's coming at the seventh trump is another 1,000 years. So God keeps promise to his day, is what this is about. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and continue. Verse 6, and Seth lived 135 years, and he begot Enos. That's E-N-O-S, Enos. And Enos really simply means a frail or a mortal man. And we can see that here. Now, what's interesting is that, it's 500 years. In other words, 500 years before Seth had a kid.
He was 105 years old having kids. And we complain about having kids in our 30s.
Well, yeah. But it was 500 years before Seth had a kid. So that's like almost 1,500 years, right? Before all these girls and boys and stuff.
I was thinking about
a lot of time.
Even though the women were always younger. But
you can imagine how many people are on earth at the time. Yeah. If you just take the United States, they've only been here for like 400 years. Yeah. 300-400 years.
And nobody living even 100.
And nobody's even on 100.
Yeah.
But more importantly, there's 300 million people over. Well, they say. I think it's more than that.
Yeah.
It's
documented.
It's documented.
Yeah.
That's because some of y'all don't take that census report.
Yeah.
but because of how many people on earth at the time, especially Adam's kids, this is when we can surely know that Seth knew about keeping that bloodline pure.
Right.
Because they noticed that they had a habit of waiting.
And Adam set that tone for that.
Adam set that tone knowing what Cain did.
Yeah.
And how Cain went down the knot. Okay? You guys got to pay very close attention to this.
And he talked about it. Adam talked about it to his
that
boys.
That will come and molest you or rape you.
Yeah, talk to his boys about how he comes in and defiles the wife.
And defiles the wife or defiles the woman.
That was
this is why women today shouldn't beat themselves up. From somebody that you're related to. That will come and try to defile you or somebody like that. But because remember, it happened from the beginning.
Right.
All right. So imagine how many people were on earth at the time, especially Adam's kids. But again, Seth was in his mind from his father, keeping this bloodline as pure as we can. All right. And so we can see that here in verse 6 and when he begot Enosh. Okay, verse 7. And Seth lived after he begot Enosh, 870 years. And he begot sons and daughters. There's a whole bunch of them.
A whole bunch of them.
But still, Cain got 2,000-year lead.
You got 2,000.
You got to imagine today, you guys.
Yeah, and twins and triplets, that stuff was still existing.
They have multiplied on the earth today in abundance. The seed of Cain. They're here, full flesh right now. Okay? Verse 8. And all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. So we can see that notice that it keeps the timing of it keeps going down and down and down and down. Okay? And we can see that. Okay? And verse 9. And Enosh lived 90 years. Okay? He waited 100. He waited 100 years. Okay? And he begot, this one here is Canaan or Canaanine. And this means possessor.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's not the same one. But you notice that the names are very similar to Cain's kids.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is to teach you something. Okay, it's all about teaching you something. Our Father is teaching you something, and the names are going to be similar so that you can use your weapon. And we're going to talk about your weapon in a little bit here. Okay? Verse 10, and Enoch lived after that. He begot Canaan, okay, 850 years, and he begot sons and daughters. Look at that, multiplying, guys. Okay, there's a lot of children being born in Adam's genealogy. Okay, there's a lot of kids being born.
They took that multiply word seriously.
They took that multiply word very seriously. Okay? All right. Verse 11. And all the days of Enosh were 905 years, and he died. Okay? Verse 12. And Canaan lived 70 years, and he begot Mahalalel. I can't pronounce that. Y'all can do it.
Yeah.
Mahalalel. Okay. Mahalalel. I don't know.
No, I don't know.
Okay, I can't pronounce it. But this name here, I did look at it and researched it. This name means the praise of Yah. Okay? The praise of Yah is what that name means. Okay? But again, just notice all these children. All right, verse 13. And Canaan lived after he begot Mahalalel 840 years, and he begot sons and daughters. Now, if you notice here, is that the lifespan is decreasing. Notice that you don't see or read any of Cain's offspring multiplying in this chapter. And why? Why don't you see that? Is because it's not Adam's offspring.
That's right.
It's a different bloodline.
That's right.
Okay? Different bloodline. They are different bloodlines, Satan's bloodline, and it's important that you recognize this because most Christians never consider it. They think everybody is of the same bloodline.
And that's the problem.
And that is the problem. And it's not even close.
Nowhere near it.
Not even close.
Even it's identifiable too. It's very identifiable. You can tell just by certain things.
Yeah, you can tell by their fruit. And remember in Genesis chapter 3, what did Yah say? I will put enmity between your seed and her seed.
I mean, talking about his seed.
Yeah.
Talking about y'all didn't deliberately say it on purpose, but he used Eve as the
between her seed and your seed.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There are going to be two different seeds in the earth from two different genealogies, two different bloodlines.
Yes.
You got to realize Lucifer has blood.
Yes. Can I say that again? Yeah. Because it's important. Everybody has blood. And everybody doesn't have, back then, the DNA. The DNA metrics inside the blood is different than so Lucifer had sperm, obviously, because he could produce, and he had blood. The difference, as always noticeable, was the DNA inside the blood. That's what
DNA inside the blood.
Yes, the DNA. That's why they need to get an accurate reading on who you are. They need your blood. That swab of the mouth. That's this.
They need the blood.
That's saliva. That's not really the blood. They need the blood to actually break down what's going on. They could see all type of stuff when they draw blood. That's why they want. If they could do tests the other way, they wouldn't ask for your blood. They'll just swab your mouth and say, we'll run some tests. And they need the blood because the blood has that DNA metric in there, and they need to pull it out to see what's going on.
Yeah, the blood is the only thing to tell because if you're a person that gets blamed for a child and you do a swab, it's going to come out pretty close because it's just swab. But you need your DNA to really determine if your DNA is the same.
That's right.
Because everybody can be linked almost just about by a swab.
Right.
And you can find little countries a little different, and your eating pattern is different. But for the most part, you have to have the blood. Now, I want to talk about this a little bit. This is scientific. But if there are technically about 4 bloodlines in the earth realm today. Okay, and these are real. You guys can do your own research on that. But there's 2 bloodlines that are mentioned in the scripture that are important to Yah. You have the 6-day creation. Okay, the 6-day creation, that was a certain blood type. Okay. And but they were created.
Okay, the first one was the 6th day.
Yeah, you guys probably want to write these down. You have the 6-day creation, which is they were created. Okay, it's very important. They were created. Man was created. Okay, then you also have the hybrids from Cain in the 6-day creation.
So it's still part of the 6th day.
So it's still part of the 6th day, but it's got Cain's blood or Lucifer's blood inside the 6-day creation. Okay? And so you have that today in the earth realm. And then you have Yah's bloodline. Okay? So Yah's bloodline is been F or F Ha Adam, okay? F Ha Adam. That is a separate bloodline. That's 3 bloodlines so far. Okay? And then what you have is the 6th-day creation and Cain. Then we have them mating with, and this is the fact, mating, they mated with a animal or a monkey.
Yeah.
Okay?
Something of that nature.
Something of that nature. Was a monkey type.
Yes.
Because it's a RH negative.
That was found in a monkey. Only one monkey.
Only one monkey in the world carries that, and it's in the European world or German or back in that stage. And you can Google that. It's RH1, and there are negative that and this when I was in med school. This is I'm going back. When I was in med school and then of course working in pharmacy and in pharmaceuticals. If a male had an O positive blood, and this is a fact to this day, and if they impregnated a female that was RH negative, the baby would die if they didn't get certain types of medicine.
Right.
Because the mother.
Yeah,
because the baby wouldn't fuse together. If there's any nurses are here, or like Valerie's watching, right? There's kids that were born without
Valerie's watching.
Without belly buttons, and there's kids that are born with
Edwards.
hair on their back. Hair, they got a little bit of hair on their back, and that's a RH negative. So it's a monkey gene. That's why that comes from the 6th-day creation. Functioning in a different way. And this is where we're going to get into, and we're going to see this. This is where you get into Neanderthals. This is where you get into all that. And all that was real. But most of the Christian church, they stop at 6,000 years and they don't go beyond that.
Right.
And it's eons, you guys. It's not, we haven't been here. We've been here. We may have been here under 12,000 years, if you will. But there was eons ago. Okay? You had the 1st-day creation, but you still have the 6th-day creation that has a different bloodline than you. And you have to realize that. What do we have?
Why do you do that?
I don't know. Mine's is fine. Pastor Kim is yours is starting over.
That's weird.
Okay. All right. It ain't really looks weird, okay? No, mine's is fine. Okay, and so what you have is, can I keep going? Okay, so what you have today is that you have the 6th-day creation with this unusual bloodline, and that bloodline, if you will, has a hybrid attached to it. Okay, and so be it. Okay. I got kind of confused. You threw me.
That's okay. Keep talking. You talk about the RH.
Yeah, the RH negative.
Right.
Yeah, so the RH negative. Again, if you do a research on that, you guys will be able.
And it's
to
vice
see.
versa, whether it's the male or the female, whoever carries that RH.
Yeah,
it attacks. The baby can't.
Yeah, the baby can't survive off that unless they have the right bloodline. So yeah, there's
or a certain medication put inside the.
Yeah, the blood. So there's different types of bloodlines, and we can see, like you have your O positive through your A's, we can see, but then there's an RH negative. And that RH negative has come from something that's completely non-human. Okay? So, and that is real today. They've been doing studies on that for a long time. They say that 15% of the population has it, and knowing the statistics from the government is a lot. So it's mostly a lot more.
Yeah.
And chances are it is a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Okay? So why am I talking about this? Because most believers think they're connected to Yah by a confession.
Right.
Woo! This is where
good.
we go. Meaning that you thought what you said connected you to Yah. And even secret societies know about bloodlines. Even presidents know about bloodlines. Remember that everybody goes, well, they keep the same bloodline. Yeah, they want the seed of Cain to run the United States. That's what that's all about. And because the bloodline is what matters. So if you don't understand your bloodline, you will understand the value of you being a royal priesthood.
That's right.
Where does that royalty come from?
That's good.
The royalty comes from the blood. Satan doesn't have royalty. Lucifer doesn't have it.
Yeah.
But you have royal blood in your body. In other words, the blood that's in your body is where the voice of Yah comes from. It's not just the spirit of Yah coming upon you.
Right.
It's coming out of you.
That's the key.
Coming out of you. Life is in the blood.
Right.
Hey.
Yeah, you can't confess your way into it.
Into that blood.
Yeah, you can't confess your way into it.
Okay? And so only the seed of Yah will have the confidence to know that they're the bloodline.
Right.
Okay? I know Yah's blood flows through my veins. I know that. Okay? Why? Because we were chosen. He said, I've chosen you before the foundation of the world. Right? And so, and the Christian or the five assemblies, they think that what they're saying and what they're doing materially is what
links them to
Yah.
Yeah.
But it's a bloodline. Again, going back to the most powerful story, one of the most powerful stories. If you look at the prodigal son, the prodigal son was bloodline. Okay, and it proved that there was another bloodline in there, even though they were brothers.
Right.
The other brother act no different than Cain, because when he showed back up, he got mad at him. That showed the father, this one over here is not.
Right. You ain't gonna get that treatment.
You ain't getting that treatment.
Yeah.
No matter what, he came to himself, and when he came to himself, he didn't have to make a confession. I'm a king's kid. He knew who he was when he walked back through that door. He knew, I am the bloodline.
That's right.
I'm supposed to be here.
No matter how far I go, my father's going to receive me.
My
back.
father will receive. And Yeshua is the same.
After my lecture.
After my lecture.
Yeah, after I get lectured.
So, but yeah, that's very important. Again, the bloodline is your key to hearing the voice of Yah. Right now, you guys, I don't think they understand what I'm saying. I got so excited about it. I'm just running up. But I want you to understand that the bloodline of Yah came from the Adam, okay? And Adam, the second Adam, that blood, that DNA that came from Sha'ua. And who is that? That is Eve, Sha'ua. She is part of Yah's DNA. And this is why later on we're going to find out, again, between chapter 6 and 9 of the book of Genesis, you're going to find out why Noah had these, it was only 8 of them, to keep the bloodline pure so it can come down. And so that when Mary, as a surrogate mother, can hold a pure bloodline, and Yahuwah can come through that bloodline. It was to keep that bloodline pure. Why? Because that's where we were selected from. It was the bloodline. I have chosen you.
Yes.
Okay? And the chosen ones can hear the voice of Yah. See, you gotta understand something. The chosen ones do not have to be convinced to read. They don't have to be convinced to study. They don't have to be convinced to go. It's the unchosen that are always looking for a personality or a familiar spirit to get involved with. That's what's attracting them to Pergamos or Thyatira or Sardius or Ephesus. That's what attracts them to the other assemblies. They have to have that because that's where they're from.
This is good, y'all. Because say that one more time. I want you to go over the one piece where it says where they came from, the Thyatirians and where they mostly dwelled at.
Yeah, they dwell, and Thyatira. And again, we're talking about the book of Revelation, chapter 2 and 3, because no matter where you have been in a physical building, you're part of one of the 7. So it doesn't matter if you call yourself Baptist, Methodist, Presbyterian, Catholic, what have you. You are part of that. You're part of one of those, and you cannot unseparate yourself from one of the 7.
Right.
You can't. I'll say it again. You cannot unseparate yourself and say that you're not part of one of the 7. You are right now. Those of you that are watching right now, that you're attracted to a Thyatira type of ministry. You're attracted because you got a familiar. You're so attached to that spirit. And you're attached to the wrong spirit. And if you always want prophecies or you're looking for an emotional word, you gotta understand that's what you're attracted to. that is a spirit. And that spirit is being watched and monitored because of, that type of environment, that type of movement, where you always got to feel a certain way. Okay? Y'all's children don't have to feel nothing.
Amen.
We already know we're bloodline. And a bloodline doesn't explain itself. All that explaining and I gotta be sensitive. That is a religious spirit that comes from one of the seven. And that's a fact. It's right there. It says, that's why he says to Ephesians, return to your first love. Why? Because you over there, you got a piece of the word, you sound like the word, but you're so sensitive. That's not it. The Arabaka. It is the Pergamos, Thyatira, and Laodicean. You see these groups in the earth today, and Laodicean is the beginning of creation, meaning that they are the sixth-day creation living in the earth realm today. They're the hunters. They're the ones that are desperately wanting to hunt, desperately wanting to, they're fishermen, and that's what they do. Did we get stuck?
Yeah, I don't know why. I think it's the internet.
Okay.
We're just going to keep talking.
Well, I don't know if you guys can hear us.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. They can hear us.
They can hear us still?
I believe so. Can you hear us? Yeah.
They can still hear us?
Keep talking.
Okay.
We don't know what's going on.
We don't know what's going on, but we're going to keep on going.
Yeah.
The screen froze up, but we're going to keep on going.
That could be because of
because I'm saying certain things.
Yeah.
I might be saying certain things that they're picking up here. So
Yes.
we're going to
keep talking.
Eventually, we can hear you. Okay. All right. So I'm frozen there. Not too bad of a shot, huh? At least I wasn't picking my nose.
I know.
But again, this subject is very vitally important to understand because the seed of Cain has always tried to interrupt us. And but yes, we can. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Lauren. But yeah, so now I want you guys, again, you have to use your mind now because you can't visually see us.
Right.
But let me explain this again. And again, we looked at verse 13, and we saw that coming into verse 13, notice the life is decreasing. Okay? So we can see that life is decreasing. And we notice that, and so that's very important to understand. But remember, he said, "I would put enmity between thy seed and her seed." And so, how can people become empowered if we don't teach them the truth? It's not about being uncomfortable or even about attempting to be deep or controversial. That's how religious people call us or talk about us. It's about teaching the truth. And this is the truth. There are different bloodlines in the earth realm, period. There are different mankind, and we need to recognize that. The moment we recognize it is the moment we get free. Okay? And so keep this in mind. I'm going to make a statement. Please write this down. The truth will set you free from the enemy because it identifies the enemy. I'll say that again. The truth will set you free from the enemy because it identifies the enemy. So why is that important? Because any child of Yah that knows this and knows that Yah gives them power over their enemies, they will live the most undefeated life. So when you identify your enemy, you will have power over them because Yah has given you power over your enemies. So the truth, only the truth will give you that power.
That's it. Only the truth.
Period.
Shall set you free.
That's it. Nothing else.
Nothing else.
And in religion, you are not, many people, good people, honest people, good-hearted people have never read chapter by chapter, verse by verse. They don't know because they're being told that they need to go ahead and grab this CD or that CD or this book or that book. And Cain is always promoting himself.
Yes.
Cain never connects people to Yah. Cain connects people to a building.
Yes.
That's what they do. That's the spirit. And that Canaanite spirit runs through those assemblies. Mm-hmm. He's been at this a very long time. You and I have been on this planet less than 100 years, thinking that we got it made by us making these selective choices. And he's giving us, he fills us up with so many options that we never take the time to study chapter by chapter, verse by verse. Therefore, you can't know the truth.
Yeah, and it causes, when we do that, and when that happens, it causes because what you're really reading when you're reading out the King James, that's not even that ain't even the true writings of where you need to be learning. So even when you're not reading chapter by chapter and then you're just focusing on those CDs and all that,
right,
it pulls you further away from the word.
Okay.
So.
All right, let's go to verse 14.
Okay.
I know, I'm seeing myself frozen here.
No, it's okay.
Verse 14.
It goes there.
It says, in all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. Okay, so we can see that there. And so we can see that. Let's go to verse 15. And Mahalalel, we see that again, lived 65 years, and begot Yared. Okay, we can see that there. And verse 16. And it says Mahalalel lived after he begot Yared 830 years. You see that? And 30 years, and begot sons and daughters. So we can see here in verse 16, we can see there on verse 16 that sons and daughters are being born, and we can see that. Okay, let's look at verse 17. In all the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, and he died. Look at all. And now notice that what we should see here is that as sin multiplied, man's lifespan continued to do what? Decline. Why? Because Cain and his offspring are still here on the earth realm. They're polluting it. Mm-hmm. They're polluting the earth realm. Okay. And by the way, guys, as you see the screen being froze up, just stay right there with us. You don't have to click off. It's something that's internal. So what the scriptures you'll be able to see. So as sin multiplies, man's lifespan continued to decline because of Cain and his offspring. It continued to pollute the earth with their wickedness. So you better know that your enemy is Satan and his offspring. I'll say it again. It's not just the demons and evil spirits. It's Satan and his offspring that you're dealing with. Okay? Go to verse 18. All right. And Enoch, he becomes a preacher. Okay? Enoch is a good person. And that's really what that means there, is that Enoch is that good person. All right? And he becomes that individual. Okay? Verse 19. And Yared lived after he begot Enoch. Okay? 800 years, and he begot sons and daughters. Look at that. Now the time's going down further, and we can see it's going down. And they're begotten their sons and daughters. Okay? And but again, his lifespan is decreasing because that's how much sin is in the earth realm. You think about it, it's just ripping years off people's lives. Just like sometimes you go some places today and people look all dusty. And you look young in the crowd. Because that's sin. Okay? When people start, this everything, they start losing it. They start just looking like they're getting ready to, just like, what happened to you? Okay? All right? All right. Verse 20. And all the days of Yared, were 962 years. And he died. And so we can see that there. Verse 21. And Enoch lived 65 years and begot Methuselah. Now, remember people say, you old as Methuselah. Remember that?
Yeah.
So I used to say Methuselah.
Oh, you act as old as Methuselah.
Yeah, act as old as Methuselah. Mm-hmm. And actually, it was interesting in the writing. It says Selah here, in Methuselah. In the Besorah, it's Methuselah. It's very interesting. It has Selah next to that. Think about that. 300 years and begot sons and daughters. There you go. Notice that Adam's seed is constantly multiplying. Okay. All right. And verse 23. Okay, we can see in all the days of Enoch were 365 years. We can see that. Okay. And verse 24. Okay. And here in verse 24 it says, and Enoch walked with Elohim, and he was not, for Elohim took him. And so, the question is that a lot of people don't think about is that who taught Enoch how to preach?
Right.
How did Enoch know what to preach? And what was he preaching? And the answer is he was preaching about the deceivers on earth.
Yeah, because it was
they were pretending like they were the seed of somebody like oh yeah, Adam's my father. No, he's not.
Right, because Adam taught his lineage, and from Seth to Seth's sons, daughters.
All the way down to
they
Enoch.
talked about how Lucifer snuck in and did that to their mama.
Yeah, how they did it with mama, and all them people over there
Yeah,
you see,
yeah.
they don't even relate to you.
Exactly, to their grandma.
They don't, and so there's always a dang on Canaanite trying to take your family's identity. That's a Canaanite, y'all. And you always got somebody in the family you don't know, why they act so weird? They're Canaanite. Well, I thought that was my mama's kid. No, they are a Canaanite. Dog it. I wish they could see my face right now.
That's why we froze it, because my husband told me they froze.
Doggone Canaanite.
They froze us up.
There's them little Canaanites they hate that word. Canaanite, 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 Canaanite.
Well, don't.
So what was he talking about? Cain was talking about what was he preaching? See, it's one thing that he was teaching too, is that it was very difficult for y'all's creation to discover the truth. So even today, y'all's kids, it's hard for them to discover the truth with all that Canaanite was.
Honey, I was just thinking about how did he know how to preach the word or what was taught. Today's time, we don't teach our children anything about past.
So they go learn from the Canaanites.
They learn from the Canaanites and then try to make it their lineage, and it's not their lineage. What we teach them maybe is how to cook, how to clean, or how to do certain things, but we don't never teach them about the lineage and the history of how, this whole Seth and how I just trying to figure out where did we stop at? Why did we stop teaching that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that was the plot from Lucifer too. Don't teach them.
Don't teach them. Don't. Let them go back in the back room. Remember they used to tell all the kids, go back in the room. Go back in the room. Yeah. And that was just like a Canaanite plot.
Right. And because they wanted,
you can't come out here with those grown folks.
Yeah. And the reason why they couldn't be with the grown folks because the grown folks was doing sinful things.
Right. They were acting like Canaanites.
Yeah. That's why.
And they were shortening their time span. Uncles dying at 40 and 30 and uncles dying at 50. What the heck is that?
Right. Because back then, in Seth and them time, the children were around, even though they wouldn't play, but they were around, so they learned the traditions of understanding why they take the cup and the wine.
Why they take the cup? Why take the wine?
The communion didn't come and play when Yeshua came. Communion was always in effect. It was always in effect. Those things and those heritage, we don't teach the children of today that are part of y'all's lineage.
I like what you guys put there. Vicky, faith comes by hearing, not seeing.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys are staying tuned in. Again, we are talking about Genesis chapter 5, and I'm just saying this not to those that have been tuned in, but to those that might come on and see the screen freeze there.
Yeah.
We are very aware of that, and we're going through chapter by chapter, verse by verse, in the book of Genesis chapter 5.
That's right.
Just to make sure that you can hear us.
And you can see some. You can see the scriptures, but you just can't see us.
Yeah, you can. Exactly. You can read the scriptures, but you can't see us, which is actually almost a little bit better.
Yes.
So that you can get it. But yeah, I know my facial expressions today is probably horrible with regards to I cannot stand that spirit of Cain.
Yes.
Because I know what it's doing to people that I care about and people that you love. And again, Cain is notorious for deceiving the righteous. And he tries to get us into his habits, forbidden habits, habits that Yah just forbids. And the way he does that is to make you deny your bloodline and make you think that you got born again. What a criminal. What a lying criminal. The lying joker, boy, I'm telling you. He lied his tail off. And today, on television, they say, if you want to meet Yeshua Jesus as your Lord and Savior, just go ahead and say this. Oh, please. How in the heck can you get how can that blood transfer? How in the...
The words, I'm getting dressed.
I can't even... Lord, give me sweet lips. How in the heck can you say something and end up in the palace? I want you to go think about that. Go over there to the most wicked, some of these wicked kings in the earth realm today. Go ask anybody, Prince Charles, whatever. Say, you know what? If I say I'm a prince, can I sit in your palace?
First of all, you gotta get in. First, you gotta access the door. You can't even get in the door.
You can't even work there. He ain't gonna let nobody sit on that throne without what? The bloodline.
That's right.
How in the heck do you think you connected to Yeshua?
And if their bloodline gets shortage, they start remaking within their own.
No, they actually the bloodlines in the world. What they'll do is they'll say, "Oh, you're third generation, you're fourth generation, you're fifth generation. You get these little benefits. The benefits get smaller and smaller, right? And what Yahusha did, he came back and he made it all one blood, right? That's why his blood is so valuable,
and that's why you got to understand too. People that had arranged marriages, they still do that today. There's a reason why it's arranged, because they're keeping the bloodline.
Keeping the bloodline.
They don't want to say it, they just call it arranged marriage, but they bring it down by so many generations, and then they marry each other.
Yeah. You can't, I like that, Dr. Rizal, you can't freeze the truth. That's right. And so now, one of the things is that if you go to Saudi Arabia today, if you go to Dubai today, KBR or KBS, King Osama bin Laden, I don't know what his name is. He's over there, KBS. Don't you know that you have to be his bloodline to take the throne? You have to be bloodline. You have to be bloodline in France. You have to be bloodline you have to be bloodline in British. You have to be bloodline.
Not by...
And so the Christians.
Right. So if you was a male and you married into a queen, the male don't get no throne if the queen passed. Right. Vice versa. If a king, you don't get to take on the throne. They got to get a bloodline.
They got to get the bloodline.
So if you don't have a son by that king, or you didn't have a son by that queen, you in trouble.
You in trouble. But this is the bloodline.
Yeah.
So when Yeshua told Peter, flesh and blood hadn't revealed it to you, he knew that Peter had the bloodline. Why? Because the voice of Yah spoke from the bloodline. Y'all get this? Listen to me. The voice of Yah spoke through the bloodline, and he wasn't even born again. Or what they call born again. How the heck did Peter be able to hear from heaven, and he supposedly wasn't filled with the Holy Ghost? Whatever they say, calling him a spook. But if that was true, if that was true, that a confession allowed you to hear and be so anointed, if that was true, then how did Peter hear? Because Peter was bloodline.
And Peter didn't know confession.
And Peter didn't know nothing about no repeat after me.
None of the 12 disciples
Stupid.
did. All they knew was to get up.
I'm just like thinking about all these. Okay. I'm thinking about all these foolish preachers I've been listening to.
Could you guys imagine us doing radio? Because you can't see our faces, so we really we can start going in like we just talking to each other.
I'm just tired of listening to all these religious fools tell me that if I say something, y'all will talk to me. I've never been so blind in all my life. I feel like I've been bamboozled. But that is enough. I'm telling you right now, from this day forward and even moving forward into these next years,
yes,
and nobody listening to this program going to be deceived again. Hallelujah. We're going to expose them like the royalty that we are. We're teaching them how to understand their royal rights.
That's right.
It's about royalty. Mm-hmm. And everybody who's listening right now, you have that royalty. Mm-hmm. You have it. Mm-hmm. It's not by what you said. It's in your blood. And that's why you can hear the voice of the Ruach HaKodesh.
Yes.
Goes through your veins. And it's coming out. The voice is coming out of you. Remember when y'all said, the kingdom is within you. Mm-hmm. How did he say that? That's what he said. Mm-hmm. Hey, listen, you guys. We're going to take a break here. Stay right there. Let's see if we can figure out how to get this camera back on. But we're going to let you guys give you an opportunity to go ahead to your Heavenly Father in your giving and receiving. Please take the time to do this right now and let us come back to you in a few moments. We love you guys. Yeah, I'm stirred up. That's right. I'm on fire. But I can't wait to get back, guys. Go ahead and take a break. Kim and I will be right back right after this.
Generations after generations keep praising you, yet no word sums you up. Then I asked the Lord, what name fits you? And he said, yeah. Generations after generations keep praising you, yet no word sums you up. Then I asked the Lord, what name fits you? And he said, yeah.
Okay, we're back. All right. All you have to do now, that if you have taken the time to basically go to your Heavenly Father, you're giving, receiving, just look up to heaven and say, Barak Hashem, blessed be the name of the Lord.
Yes.
We love you, Adonai. And we thank you for leaving an open heaven over our lives. In the name of Yahusha Hamashiach. Glory, glory,
Yes, glory.
Okay, welcome back, you guys. Now you guys can see us. Okay, we were going there, man, and I'm telling you, I was just like, I am so. You guys, I cannot express to you the righteous anger I have. I am lit from learning all this crap. That's the best way I can put it, you guys. I'm sick of it. I see. I honestly. Okay, let's just take a side note. Mm-hmm. I was telling you this morning when we were taking a drive. Mm-hmm. I'm clicking, and I said, I know why my queen. She's always for 20 years. She's never watched. She does never ever tune in to what's he call it, Christian television. Mm-hmm. She used to always tell me it irritates me. And when I came to myself, I asked the Rock, I said, why did I do that? And he said this, a familiar spirit. A familiar spirit connected you. Mm-hmm. And boy, I got as hot as fish grease. And because, why does it become a familiar spirit? Because when you practice the traditions of men for decades, you develop a familiar spirit where you just like it because you have that spirit. Yeah. And that spirit links you to one of the other assemblies. But when the truth sets you free, you come unparked. You like, bloop. I mean, like again, you go from like the prodigal son, you go from eating the slop to in the palace. Okay? And all that stuff out there right now is slop. I'm in the palace. And then now your eyes are opened up. Now you go from a place where you're no longer tuned in. You're not even offended. Some people would write on my page right now, well, his name is really da 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 da. I don't even respond because I know who that is. Mm-hmm. 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 I never respond to a Canaanite. Mm-hmm. And I don't respond to one of the other assemblies. So those are two different groups. So if you're part of the other five, why should I get offended? I can't get offended. You were stuck in the other group. I understand why you think that way.
And I'm going to follow what my father said.
I'm gonna be in my group. I'm going to be in my group, yes, and you can be in your group.
That's right.
Okay?
And don't attend to them.
And don't attend. You don't need to say nothing. No. Just look at it. Okay, delete. That's all you got to do.
As I used to say, and I still do, roll the window up.
Roll the window up.
Or don't even entertain.
Okay, guys, welcome back. Sorry we take a little break there. Welcome back. You are watching the House Campus. We're talking about Genesis chapter 5. I want to stay on the topic of Adam's genealogy, and really dealing with Seth. This is all coming out of Seth, the genealogy, and there's many kids that were born, both male and female. And what we're seeing here is that now we left off talking about verse 24. Let's go back and look at verse 24 if we can. And it talks about, again, Enoch walked with Yah. Okay, he walked with Elohim, and he was not, for Elohim took him. In other words, he was a preacher. And what was he preaching? He was preaching that there are deceivers on the earth. How did he know that? He knew that from his father's 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 father. Mm-hmm. He knew that all the way back to Adam. Mm-hmm. In other words, Adam really took the time to spend time with Seth to teach Seth about the seed of Cain. Mm-hmm. He didn't focus on your cars, your houses, the things you're going to get. Adam, took Seth and taught him about his enemy. That's and right. It lasted till we got it today. Mm-hmm. That's how much he taught that. That means he was in it every day. He was teaching them, look, see that guy right there? But ain't that one mixed with cousin so-and-so? Yeah, that's a Canaanite. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine? Because he had daughters that went to the Canaanite side. He had sons that went to the Canaanite side.
And you know what's funny? I was just thinking about, as you're talking, I was thinking about as when my kids were growing up. They used to say, Mom, every time you tie everything into the word, what I would teach them, everything I do. And I think about it, I was doing it naturally, not even knowing that I was doing it.
Yeah, you'd always do it.
But when you now they are able to identify. Mm-hmm. But they're not.
And this is the part that's why Cain was marked. Mm-hmm. He was marked so that we would see the mark.
Right. That's right.
The marking is for us. Mm-hmm. See, what you have to understand, let me say this, you guys. Please get your ears open. Stop for a second. Turn off things. Cain cannot discern. Mm-hmm. He can only predict. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cain cannot discern. Mm-hmm. Satan cannot discern. Satan cannot see past midnight. Mm-hmm. If he would have known, he would have never crucified. Mm-hmm. Why? Because he can't discern anything. Mm-hmm. He can only know the moment. Mm-hmm. The moment you say something, the moment you respond. He responds to your moments. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So going back to
make it look like he predicted.
Yeah, to make like he predicted. Look at the news. Mm-hmm. The news is about predicaments. Mm-hmm. They're not discerning stuff. They're making stuff up.
And discernment is not. Okay, go ahead.
Discernment. The reason for discernment is for your enemies.
Right.
Oh, you got to understand. Yeah, discern what enemy you're dealing with.
Right. Discernment is used for your communication of understanding the direction you're supposed to go in Yah. That's what discernment is for. You don't even have to use it towards your enemy because your enemy is your footstool. So the only way your enemies have access is if you give them access. When you turn off their access, they go on, they move on because you're not entertaining them no more. So your discernment is used to communicate through the Ruach to help guide you into where you're supposed to go in Yah, where Yah is guiding you in.
And that's what the discernment is for.
Yeah, it's not about anything else.
It's not discerning about how I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that.
It's not
it's about how's Yah moving your pathway. That's all he's just doing is guiding your pathway. And then that's part of your diligently seeking him. It's using that discernment to go in that direction.
And that discernment is used to help you understand your royal priesthood. And just like how kings and queens are taught at birth on how to sit, how to posture, that's what discernment is used for, to teach you how to function in your kingship role.
That doesn't come by you confessing and begging your way back to the. I mean, oh Lord, please, all that begging, right? Yeah. Even the songs are like that.
Yeah, there's no kingdom that has a king or queen on it that is begging for anything. Period.
Now you can even look at the natural kings.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Like what's that one redheaded little boy that's at the Prince Charles thing, whatever his name is.
The brother.
Right? When they said he kicked him out, did you see him beg?
No. Because they can't kick him out.
They can't kick him out. He's bloodline.
They can't kick him out. That's just the news and them talking, but they ain't kicking him out.
He came to Calvary. He said, look, I'm finna go, and ain't no matter what you do,
they
I'm bloodline.
They can't even cut him off of receiving money. Because he is bloodline. Even if his daddy wants to write it up,
he can't cut him off.
He can't cut him off. His daddy would never cut him off.
And he would never cut him off because he's bloodline. He can't do nothing. That's my blood.
Right. It wasn't like he was going to get the throne and rule unless his brother died. Anyway, so it's the whole talk about what they're talking about doesn't even. It's just
the family ain't even talking about that.
What it is, people use predictions to see people respond, and to see people fail. They predict, or cause prediction to say things so people start hating on people. And it's just the work of the enemy.
It's Cain.
It's Canaanite.
It's a Canaanite spirit.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Are you guys getting that? Okay. So we're now back again. Thank you for coming back.
Yes.
And again, we're looking at what really in verse 24 what Enoch exposed to why y'all took him, because his heart was so good. Okay. And let's take a look a little bit further.
Or just read it.
About we're gonna take a look at it about Hebrews here, and we're gonna take a little a look in Hebrews about Enoch. It's in Hebrews chapter 11 verse 5, and let me read this to you Do you remember this? In Hebrews 11:5, it says, by faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because Yah had translated him. For before his translation, he had this testimony that he pleased Yah. And how did he do that? Because he worked with Yah. That's how he did that. He pleased Yah. Okay, verse 6 says this, but without faith, you guys know this, it's impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Yah must believe that he is, and he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So that really just means, it means being very sincere. Sincerely telling the truth. Okay? Today, the other 5 assemblies are not telling the truth. They're connecting people to people, not connecting people to Yah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And they got you believing that if you give money to Israel, you're going to get blessed. Because that's what I see on television.
Might get frozen again.
We might get frozen again. But I'm saying, you see all this television,
right.
And all they're doing is selling skin tones. Well, if we go over there and help these little kids over there, and that's God's people, we're going to go ahead and you're going to be blessed by it. People buy it hook, line, and sinker.
And
that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Okay.
Whatever. What do you have for that?
I get myself today. Also, I can't stand that CDK. I'm telling you, that joker that messed up a lot of people we love. But at the same token, you have to be wanting to come out of that.
And I'm just thinking about Yeshua when he was walking. He had dealt with the same thing, but he sure didn't meditate on it.
He didn't meditate on it.
You're like,
during this time that we're talking to everybody, we're talking about it. Jude 4, in Jude 14, I want you to listen to this. Here's what it says. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, in other words, the seventh seed, prophesies of these, saying, behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000 of his saints. Okay? And you got to realize, having inside discernment, how can this be according to the traditions of men without being born again? Their answer is, if you're born again, you're going to be anointed. Do you know that is that? Think about that.
Right.
Cain, or the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and they made even Yeshua say that, and it doesn't say that in the Besorah.
That's what I was trying to get to. Right
it don't say nothing about being born again, and you got to realize born again is one of the biggest scams in the world, because you cannot be born again. You're born from above, but when the Spirit moves.
Well, Canaanites want to be born again because they want to be born with that DNA blood. So that's their desire to always be born. They want that DNA blood of Yah. They want that.
Do you know how disconnected you are if you don't know you have the blood of Yah?
Right. That's why you always want to be born.
Yeah, that's why you always want to be accepted. You're trying to be accepted. And then what does he do? He tears apart the home. So there's no father in the home. There's no this in the home. There's no that in the home. And you feel separated. Okay? And a person that has a spirit of Cain won't listen to a message like this. Because they think, well, it means born again, because they won't study.
They won't study.
So you don't have to realize that there's more billions of them than there is the seed of Yah. There's more of them than there is of us.
That's why I always want to be born again.
That's why they always want to be born again. Okay. And again, anybody that wants to seek the truth will discover that, because it's the truth that will expose. See, the truth always exposes or identifies the enemy.
Now, what you will about the born again, the opposite of that with y'all's children is that when you have, what's the word? Not experience, but when you have come to yourself, when there's a connect, like when you say, oh my God, blessed by Jonah, when it hit Peter like that, right?
Yeah.
When you have that experience.
That's the voice of Yah.
That's not born again. That's a different.
You came himself.
Yeah, you came.
Peter's experience,
yes,
and the prodigal son experience is identical.
Right.
They both came to themselves. And again,
so when you have that type of experience, your connection to Yah begins.
That's when the Ruach breathes.
That's right. That's what I was trying to get. I could get words. Yeah.
And so, but in today's world, you don't have to go through that. All you got to do is say something without the breath of Yah, and you in the kingdom.
And that's when they right back what they doing.
That's why they run right back.
Yeah.
So the evidence, the proof is there. Oh, well, they came to the altar on Sunday, and then last week they was out in the whole house.
And they're still working on it.
They working on it.
When there's no working on it when you have a connection.
Right.
Because it immediately you turn.
Because y'all breathe.
Yeah. And
when y'all breathe, that's it.
That's it. And when you come to yourself, that's it. Nobody can change.
Arriba, summer, girl.
There's no. When you have come to yourself, when people let's use somebody that has an addiction to something, and when they realize what the actual addiction is doing to them, and when they have come to themselves on that realization, they never go back.
They freeze up. There's that boom.
Yeah.
And it just goes away.
It's once they realize and want that change. Otherwise, they keep doing it. But once they make up their mind, that's it. They're not going back. You guys, anybody that has come out of that, they say I had to come to I had to make the decision. I wasn't ready to make. Everybody was making the decision for me, but I wasn't ready.
Yeah. And so when you look at the prodigal son, he knew his bloodline that he can hear the voice of Yah speaking to that. Let me read verse 15. Verse 15 in Jude, it says, here's why he's coming with 10,000 of his saints. Verse 15 says this, to execute judgment upon all and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed, and all of their hard speeches, which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Oops. This is what Cain was teaching. I mean, not Cain, but Enoch.
You need to go to.
Wait, let me read it.
Yeah. I'm gonna mark it so you know it starts here.
Okay. So I'm gonna read this out of the Besorah.
Right there.
Verse 15.
Yep.
Okay, so to execute judgment on all and to punish all who are wicked.
It's a difference.
Among them concerning all their wicked works. This is what Enoch was teaching, which they have committed in their wicked way, and concerning all the harsh words that they use against us, which the wicked sinners have spoken against him. So when they're speaking against you, they're speaking against him.
Yeah.
That's what it's saying. Okay, and this is about Cain and his seed as they continue to do today. This is why I'm spending time here talking about the bloodline, because the bloodline makes the difference. Your confession will follow the bloodline, not other way around. So it's your bloodline that's causing your mouth to open.
That's right. That's right.
It ain't your confession causing.
And sometimes I can't control my mouth.
Yeah, sometimes I can't control it. It's in my blood. Hey, if there's any men watching or any women watching, do you remember how you said you better act like your daddy?
You act just like your mom.
You act just like your mom. Why you gotta say that? Bloodline. Am I right? Yeah, you better act like your. And when a father talks to a son, he always says, "You are Thomas."
Yeah. That's what always the father say. No, that's what you say.
That's what I say to my boy. Yeah. You better act like a Thomas boy. That's why. Hey, how where you think we got that from?
Right.
You know the first person that said it? Huh? Yeah. This is my son. And whom I believe.
Who I'm well pleased.
Who I'm well pleased. That's my boy.
Okay. So you better back up.
You better back up. That's my boy.
Because now you tapping in the wrong area.
This is my son.
That's right. You better identify.
That's my bloodline.
Oh, love it. I love it.
So you, whether you physically was adopted or messed with, or your physical body was violated,
male or female,
your bloodline is Yah, and that's why you can hear this program today. If you can laugh about it, your bloodline is what matters. And all these years, most people have been trying to follow a confession, when in reality, the seed of Cain, just as described right here in Jude, was trying to steal that from you so that you will never understand your bloodline. So today, understand your bloodline. Please understand that it's your bloodline, ladies and gentlemen, okay? All right. All right. Let's go to verse 25. We're going to finish up. It says, and Methuselah lived 187 years and begot Lamech. Okay. Okay. Here in this verse, notice that there are some similar names. Why? Because Yah needs you to know the difference spiritually. He purposely put these in here because so that you will be able to understand and discern. So Yah's expecting you to know the difference that you are His by the power that He invested into you. So there's almost a similarity. There's a similarity between Cain's names, kids' names, and Yah's name. And so, I mean, if I meet another Mark, that doesn't mean that Mark is me.
That's right.
So the similarity, you got to discern things instead of using it for something else is different. Verse 26. And Methuselah lived after he begot Lamech 782 years, and he begot the sons and daughters. There he goes, more kids. Okay, verse 27. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. Okay, so he lived a long life. Verse 28. And Lamech lived 182 years and begot a son. And verse 29, and he called the name of the son Noah. Okay, and so again, Lamech means powerful, and Noah means rest. Okay, and that's what it means there. Verse 29. And he called his name Noah, saying, "This same shall comfort us concerning our work and the toil of our hands, because of the ground which Yahuwah hath cursed." So they already knew.
See,
Thousands
they
of years
knew
later,
they wasn't cursed.
they knew the ground was cursed.
Because when he put them there, everything flourished on its own.
Yeah, because only Yah's seed could make the ground flourish.
Well, yes,
Because the seed of Yah was the tillers of the ground. The seed of Cain, he went out to Nod, and they were hunters and fishermen.
Right.
And so we can see that today, that they create weapons, the jewelry market, the music market. That was all Cain. We saw that.
Right.
In chapter 4.
And what I'm saying is, when Yah cursed the ground wasn't cursed, so the land flourished and multiplied on its own.
Okay,
It's
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Now that he cursed it, he said, now you're going to have to till it. Yeah. Because before I just let it yield up. Now you got to make it yield up.
You got to till the ground.
Yeah.
So that's why that if like a farm today can only prosper if y'all's kids are
Yeah,
involved.
because they know how to do it.
Right. So when you get somebody like Bill Gates go out and buy it, he try to do it, it won't multiply. Yeah. That's what he has. Why he had that problem today.
Yeah, and he'd have that problem today.
because the seed of Cain can't multiply the ground. Can't multiply the soil. They can't do it unless they enslave y'all's people, because they're praying and the ground will prosper.
Well, that's 9 times 10 what they're doing.
Because you know what, I already know that's a fact. Because when I do my garden, I can't control it.
He sure can. That's why I'm limited on his garden.
I try to do. When I do a garden, my leaves,
vegetable gardens,
my collard greens leaves grow about 4 feet.
Yeah.
Even my zucchini was growing 4 to 5 feet. And it was no steroids. Right. It was just because I'm the same.
Yeah, that's right.
It multiplies.
That's a natural ability that's supposed to do.
It multiplies so fast you can't keep control of it.
Right. Exactly. So you gotta manage it.
Hey, glory! My goodness, y'all! I'm so excited.
30. Okay,
so this is showing us that verse 29 what happened. Okay, verse 30. And Lamech lived after he begot Noah 595 years. He begot his sons and daughters. Again, another 500 years where sons and daughters are multiplying. Verse 31. And all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And we can see that. And then in verse 32, the last verse here, we're going to finish up. It says, and Noah was 500 years, and Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now this is Japheth. This is a verse. I want to show them this. Go back to verse 32. This is an acrostic teaching. Remember, you guys, I talked about the acrostic teachings in Psalms 37, where this is a story that's in here. Because even though you see Shem, Ham, and Japheth, okay, this is out of order because what we have to understand is that Shem is the youngest, and Japheth is the oldest, and Ham is in the middle. So it's really Japheth, Ham, and Shem, but it's out of order for a reason, though.
Okay.
But I don't have time to get into it today. But it's out of order for a reason. But there's a reason why it's that way, and so be it. So that's the ending of our program today. You know, you guys, we're here getting ready to go into the spring season, which is next month. So therefore, as we again during this time and season is where the conception of Yahushua was. Kim and I, we're going to come in on next week, but then the following couple of weeks after that, we're going to make sure that we take a break and get prepared for the spring season. And then we'll be back on the 7th. So that means the 24th and the 31st. We're not celebrating New Year's Eve or anything like that.
We just take
but you will see 15-minute clips that I'll be coming on. Those of you that are watching that do not have the Facebook page, for this time, this will be the last time they're doing the Facebook page, like what I'm doing. We're going to go over to YouTube. But you're going to see some new things happening in the new year. And we cannot wait for the Passover to happen. You guys, we're going to start announcing that and making sure that you're able to attend. And you'll start seeing that coming into early, 2 weeks or so into January. And then we will, again, same location. And we already have that reserved. And we want to make sure that you are part of the Passover and make plans to attend that in March? I think March 30th. Yeah, March 30th. That we'll be celebrating that. We'll give you all the details.
We'll confirm.
We'll give you all the details and keep you guys posted. We pray today that you've learned something and you're holding on to it. Beyond our excitement and our frozen screen, we was radio for a little bit there, but we're glad that you can join us today. This has been an enlightened teaching. We're going to continue on the book of Genesis, chapter 6 next week. And we'll get through the entirety of that. And then I'm going to summarize between chapter 6 and chapter 9. And then when we come back into the new year, we'll be talking about the earth ages. And we'll go over that, the 3 earth ages. And then we'll enter back into preparing ourselves for the Passover and then the book of Revelations. Okay? We're going to go over that again. Why? Because he's Alpha and Omega. Beginning and the end. I think that's going to be good. All right? Guys, we love you here. Remember, if you be in the Mashiach, you are Abraham's seeds and heirs according to the promise. And remember, we love you. Stay in the Word. Always be in the Word. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
There's no better way to spend my